guess some of you may remember that almost 1 year ago, a group of 33 miners were trapped 700 meters below the ground. They had to wait for 70 days for being rescued. Meanwhile, they managed to get in contact with the rescue team and with their families. Sometimes I have the feeling that educational institutions are also trapped 700 meters below the ground with very little communication with the outside world. Today, I would like to share with you some thoughts about how certain institutions are embedding the technology in the classrooms. And I would like to analyze that from the perspective of the literacy. To do that, I'm going to provide 3 basic statements, and I'll be inspired in these ideas of Marshall McLuhan, who said that we drive into the future only using our rear view mirror. If I don't say something smart, you don't have to tweet it, please. The first statement suggests that the way that we have been embedding the technology in the classroom has been quite linear, quite predictable, quite inflexible, and if you allow me, I would say boring. Let's start with this one.
I'm E.F. Skinner, Professor of Psychology at Harvard University. I'd like to discuss...
In the late 50s, Frederick Skinner, professor from the University of Harvard, designed this teaching machine, which honestly looks like a toaster, as you can see. But he was saying that with this machine, kids will be absolutely exciting to learn. So they had to fulfill in this small blanket and answering the questions. So he was saying that kids will be particularly engaged with the learning process. And I don't know you, but I see those kids quite boring there. So again, maybe you may say, okay, but this is too old. Now we have better technologies. So I invite you to jump to the future. Let's go to jump 45 years or so. Then I had the luck to go to the university in the early years of the internet as we know it. Meanwhile, Al Gore was announcing that the superhighway of information will come to our world. So, do you still remember that noise? Wasn't it terrible? The bad news is the way that we were using technologies was also quite boring. I know it's true, the search engines were slow, the websites were quite plain and gray, but also the way that teachers were teaching the education